Hello again. I don't suppose that it will come as much of a surprise if I tell viewers that I buy a lot of books regularly. Most are second hand from charity shops and markets. Here's one which I picked up the other day. It's an old Ladybird book, published in 1961. It cost two and six. That's half a crown, 12.5 pence. I bought it because I find it fascinating for what it tells us about this country, which is essentially that Britain created the modern world and that it was this country which is responsible for civilization today. Let me run through a few of the inventions here. The sextant and the chronometer. The sextant meant that we were able to find out precisely where we were at sea, and the chronometer, invented by John Harrison, enabled perfectly accurate timekeeping. Two things essential if you're trying to navigate across the oceans. Here we are, spinning and weaving. This was the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. This is things like the spinning jenny that you might remember learning about at school, Arkwright's spinning mule, and of course power looms. These were machinery, pieces of machinery driven by water wheels first and then steam. This was the beginning of modern technology, of mechanization. Ah, steam engine. There's a good one. James Watt invented a special new type of steam engine, and it was what really began the Industrial Revolution. What else have we got here? Railway engine. Hmm, very important, that one. Another British invention, the steam turbine. It's steam turbines that allow us to generate electricity. Gosh, are they? The Davy safety lamp made it much easier to extract coal from mines. Electricity. Let's remember Michael Faraday, who was the first man to build an electric generator in England. Electric light. Another English invention, Joseph Swan. Anybody remember him? And so it continues. The bicycle. Hmm. Scottish blacksmith fitted his hobby horse with pedals. Yep, that's a bicycle. Pneumatic tyre. Another British invention. And so it continues. Unbelievable amount of. Oh, yes. Here we are. The jet engine. At one time, every schoolboy in this country had heard of Frank Whittle, who invented the jet engine. What's more, the camera. It was a British that invented photography. Television. Hmm, another British invention. Atomic energy. The first full-size power station, atomic power station, was built by Britain in the 1950s at Calder Hall. In other words, Britain created this modern world of ours, and that's something to be proud of. Today, though, all these achievements are belittled and made to appear as either bad things, or if not that, then nothing particularly special. Take the Industrial Revolution itself, for instance. For centuries, this was regarded as being the turning point in history, this start of the modern world with its factories and machinery driven first by steam and then electricity. It's why we have electricity in our homes, among other things. Can you imagine a world without mains electricity? Probably not. It's got to be good, no? Well, just hang on a moment. This is when global warming kicked off. All that coal being burnt from the 18th century onward, it was industrialization which caused climate change. And it would have been a better thing had we remained in the primitive condition that we were in the early 18th century. A lot of progressive people actually blame the Industrial Revolution for climate change and claim that the whole business, the whole Industrial Revolution was a bad thing. Seriously, this is a common modern view. We kicked off the Industrial Revolution, which caused climate change, and it's the people in Africa and Asia who will suffer most from the changing climate. Nothing to be proud of about that. And then James Watt, the famous inventor, again, who everybody knew of in this country at one time. His education was paid for by his father. And guess where his father had investments? In the Caribbean at a time when there was slavery. As an adult, James Watt sold two steam engines to slave owners in the Caribbean. His statue in Birmingham now has a plaque which details what it described as the dark history of the Watt family. Nothing to be proud of there either. Invention of the electric light? Hang on, everybody knows that the electric light was really invented by a black man in America who was cheated out of the credit due to him. What about jet engines? Well, nothing to boast about there. It says here, let's have a look. Hmm. Jet powered aeroplanes have flown at more than 1,500 miles an hour, and giant jet engine airliners fly at speeds never dreamt of by the pioneers of flying. Hmm. Yes, and what do those airliners do? They contribute to climate change, that's what, and destroy the environment. As for atomic energy, well, that's nothing to be proud of either. Dreadful stuff, all that radiation. So it is that creating the modern world has now been twisted so that the things in this book are made to appear like a series of war crimes rather than glorious advances in science and technology. This is the other part of the assault on our culture which we are seeing today. One strand of it is the physical invasion of the country by millions of people with no interest in Britain or its past. But then there is too the ideological destruction of our history and the desperate attempts to prevent native British people from feeling any pride in their ancestors' massive achievements. It's only when you look at books published just 50 or 60 years ago, like this one, that you're really able to appreciate just what is happening now.